issues relating to the attacks on INEC facility. There was another one which happened in a local government in Imo State yesterday. That's perhaps the third or the fourth one happening this year alone in that state. Now, what are the issues that have come up over these elections, and perhaps the conversation around the candidates and the political parties sign a peace accord? Let's get talking about this and how we can achieve a peaceful election. I'm being joined on the program by the spokesperson of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Organization, Mr. Dele Farutimi, who is a lawyer and rights activist. He joins us virtually from Lagos. And Anthony Ehilebo is a member of the People's Democratic Party. He also joins us virtually. And here in our Lagos studio is Mr. Ogenyi Okpoku, a member of the APC. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps I should begin with Anthony, because it does look to me that it's your party that is worried about what is going on. I mean, for some of your party members will say, well, those are statements that that he was saying to members of the party on the need to win the election. What do you guys see more than meets the eye?
A day after a member of the political party PDP, Mr. Oseyili Aneni, actually took the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Doguwa, to court, citing infringements on the new Electoral Act, Section 93 to be precise, that would preclude any political party or person from issuing threats at a rally. We have seen videos of this particular individual inciting his followers and saying that by threat of violence, nobody should vote for any other party apart from his political party. We have come to know the political party known as APC as a party that dwells and revels in violence. For instance, I'm from Edo State. There is a confessed on BBC documentary, a self-confessed Black Axe member who has been known in the past to terrorize Edo State, Benin in particular, by the name of Tony Kabaka, that is current state youth leader for APC. When you have individuals like this who form the crux of the spearhead of the APC election machinery, we must raise all sorts of alarms so that we can protect our nascent democracy. We in the PDP, we know that we have the love, we have the respect, we have the following of the people. We have set a precedence in the past by delivering between the period that we have held power in 1999 to 2014. We can tell the economic development Nigeria has or had benefited from the People's Democratic Party. But when you look at the people who have to campaign on a failed basket of promises, as they promised Nigeria from 2014, took power in 2015, and by 2022, we have a country that is in the ICU, as it were, and needs urgent resuscitation. Not a man who talks about hula baloo and decides to make a down payment for roasted corn, which has become content for skit makers, content for people who would want to make short comedy skits. That's not the sort of character we want as president of
let me allow Mr. Farutimi to come in. Does the Labour Party also hold this fear about the issue of violence going into this election?
Good evening, Sheo. Good evening, Mr. Ehilebo and the other gentlemen from the APC. You see, my people have this proverb. They say that until witches quarrel in their coven, the uninitiated rarely ever gets to hear what is going on or what transpired in the coven. We have never been accused of any form of violence whatsoever, but we've been the recipient of violence. When you hear of gas, we've received gas from the PDP, we've received booze from the APC. The more the booze and gas have come mostly, of course, from the party in power, which also has the capacity to maintain the levels of coercion. I have had occasion in the past to report a clear threat to my life, mention names in a petition to the DSS and the police. Nothing happened. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's not something that started yesterday. It's a culture. And I think what is different this time around is that what used to enable the rapacity of the violence, which was the indifference of the people, appears to be much diminished this time around. The people are much more interested. So the desperation on the part of those holding the levers of powers in Nigeria, both at the state and federal level, whether they be PDP or APC, because we are the only change game in town. That's just the truth. The Labour Party is a movement. It's pretty difficult to attack movement because you then be dealing with a whole lot more people than the usual structure of the Kabakas of this world or the MC Mushroom Pickings of this world or the many other ones that are unnamed and unknown who kill and maim on behalf of the powers that have held Nigeria down for the last 23 years. One day they are in PDP, the next they are in APC. These lines are crossed pretty frequently. We are not a political party in the true sense of it. We are a movement. We are looking to save this country from itself. And this might very well be the last chance it gets. So when people threaten violence, we've moved beyond that. They visited it. They killed one of our local government chairpersons in Kaduna State. Several persons have been attacked, even here in Lagos, merely for holding flags. You can't even find other people pasting their posters in Lagos State because the state is effectively owned and policed between the forces of MC Mushroom Pikin and the Nigerian police. And this is real. People are saying on national TV on a daily basis that advertising companies are not able to accept their checks for billboards. That's the level of overt intimidation that you see in the space in what is supposedly a democracy. So if you're seeing this in Lagos, where everybody has a phone and a camera, where policemen are actually the ones aiding in the attack of flag boys on Admiralty Road, on Admiralty Way, what is happening in the creeks? What is happening in far-flung places where your cameras would not reach? So this culture of violence and impunity has become a way of our democratic experience. But the belief is that at some point, with the involvement of the people and their interest, people have been more interested in elections in this cycle than ever before. And there are only so many thugs you can deploy when the people are involved. So
Mr. Farotimi, is it fair to allege or to accuse the ruling party, just like the PDP had accused the ruling party of fomenting or behind the violence that we have seen?
Well, put it this way. When you say a party is in power, you're then saying that ultimately that party is responsible for law and order. The one thing that has not ruled in Nigeria, definitely it didn't start in the last 7 years. It's been there for the last 23 and even beyond that. For the last 7 years has been the sole responsibility of General Buhari and the APC. And they have failed woefully at doing that job. So when the PDP, which is in itself just another branch of the APC, now begins to talk about the violence being visited by the other branch of the same family, you have to take that serious, because in truth, they are the ones who knows themselves. We are more organic. We don't have the structures that can be so easily attacked. It is the people themselves. Why do you think you have so many undecided voters who can't tell you who they are going to vote for? They are afraid, especially in places like Lagos. They're scared of what the MC... You want a bus driver in Lagos to tell you he's going to vote for Peter Obi. What do you think will happen to his boss? So that's the situation. He's not going to tell you because he's afraid. So fear is a real factor in this election. And the APC is being rightly blamed, especially in Lagos State and generally in the country. But it's not a game that is... I'm sure if I went to Rivers State and presume to speak without the license of a Wike, for instance, I will be answerable to PDP, finance and maintain thoughts. So it's not just an APC game. It's something that belongs to all of them. It's a ruling class thing.
All right.
So whether they are APC or PDP, they are equally guilty.
Mr. Ogay, your party has been accused of fomenting this violence. And you've heard the soundbite about what is happening. In fact, your candidate, the presidential candidate, there is a statement attributed to him in a viral video, which has raised some concern in the opposition about the manner in which this election is going.
To be very frank, it is psychopathic for the PDP to accuse APC of fomenting violence. If you check out the states that this violence are being mounted, especially against INEC facilities, they are APC control states. So the APC control state cannot foment crisis in its own state. So it is the same PDP, knowing fully well that it has no chance of winning the 2023 election, now decided to resort into fomenting crisis and causing violence. And when they cause this violence, they come out to play the victim. And thank God that Nigerians are not that gullible. What I'm saying here is the APC crisis that lingered for a while came to an end the day Senator Bla Adamu emerged as national chairman of the party. The reconciliation process of the party was concluded just a week after Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the presidential candidate of our party. Since then, the APC has been a very united family, and what we're doing right now is to ensure that we have a holistic ideology, programs, and initiatives of how to win the 2023 election. Remember, APC administration introduced these beavers. That is the highest sensitive machine for accreditation. The APC government is the one that also amended the Electoral Act, the Electoral Act 2022. All the processes leading to credible election in 2023 and beyond is being initiated by the APC. So the same party cannot be scared of electoral victory or loss. They're going back to foment crisis. I want to state very clear that Nigerians should know the kind of candidates they will vote in 2023, because the rate of criticism and accusation by the PDP and Labour Party against the APC candidate show very clear that these guys have already ganged up against the Nigerian people. No one, no Nigerian will tell you that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not credible enough to lead Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has done his best as president of this Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have seen the second Niger bridge. We have seen the Oweto bridge be completed, and so many other infrastructures. We have seen so many social investment programs. We have seen the security that was a major crisis and challenge to this country. You have seen that at least it has been brought to barest minimum. And the president also assured us that he's going to hand over a safe and terrorism-free Nigeria, and it's almost achieving it. So the incoming president, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has also assured that he will continue from where President Buhari may stop.
All right. So there was the viral video, which are also part of what I would like you to react to, which the spokesperson of the PDP has raised, and saying the statement made by a presidential candidate is tantamount to inciting violence. Because according to them, they're saying, based on the statement attributed to Bola Tinubu, that people should, power is not served a la carte and it must be taken. That means it's inciting violence.
It is not violence in any nature. When the candidate of my party made it very clear that power is not served in an a la carte, it's simply telling you that it must be done. You must go out and work to retain power. We are not taking power. Remember, we are to retain power because we are in power. And it is only APC that will tell you that governing party instead of ruling party has been proclaimed by the previous PDP administration. So we are the governing party. We are to retain power. And to retain power, it will not be a la carte. You must ensure that it's properly cooked and served. And how do you do this? Because we have also been able to stop this rigging process by introducing beavers, we must go back to the people and conscientize them, sensitize them, educate them, and also try as much as possible to let them see reasons why we should retain power. And that is what he means by power is not serving an a la carte. So what PDP is saying is to run into the media, address a press conference that power is not serving an a la carte simply means crisis. I don't want to accuse their presidential candidate because he's not viable enough to challenge my candidate. And I don't want to even go by any way selling their candidate. And that is why you see me, I'm not going about what they are saying. They have made more mistakes in terms of electoral campaign than even the APC. I'm not going to that.
Mistake, what do you mean by that?
So making
are
mistakes.
You referring to the Labour Party or the PDP?
The Labour Party and PDP.
How do you mean?
For example, the first point of call of Mr. Peter Obi is failures. It's patronizing failures. If you check the people that surround this campaign, they are failures. People that are not able to take responsibility for their actions are the people.
Can you be more precise in what you're saying?
Yes, I would say that. I don't want to even go into the aspect of his DG who was just convicted. I'm talking about the people that patronized and made up Peter Obi's campaign. Can you name them? Who is there? Who is in Peter Obi's campaign?
No, because you made a statement, and that is very sweeping. And when you say he has failure around him, he has people who have failure
around him.
What do you mean? So because if there's going to be a response,
the governors that surrounded Peter Obi, they are all failures.
Do they have governors in the Labour Party?
No, there are governors that he go to visit regularly. People that have failed their various states that Obi patronizes on a daily basis. Obi is not even doing campaign. So I don't want to popularize him because he knows very well that he cannot even score 25% across the two-thirds of Nigeria to win an election. But I'm very grateful that he's contesting because it's making things easier for my party. Because the Southwest is already there. The Northwest is already there. For us, I'm talking about the APC. Then the Southeast is where Obi has gone to take. The part of South-South is where it's taken. So it is PDP vote that Obi is reducing.
Let me allow, because you touched lastly now on the Labour Party. Mr. Farutimi is here, who is the spokesperson of the Labour Party. Would you like to respond to what Mr. Opoku has said in relation to your party, the campaign organization, and he made direct references to people in your campaign organization?
Sure, you should have seen me laughing my head off in there. It's actually quite amazing when somebody who is even remotely associated with the APC, talk less of one speaking on his behalf, presumes to point at anyone and label them failures. The very definition of failure is I don't even know, maybe I should say all parasites club. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to turn this into some brickbat session, but it actually takes some serious cojones for a man to look at Peter Obi and those who are surrounding him and propelling his campaign, the likes of Baba Emmanuel Ijewere, the likes of Pat Utomi, Baba Ayo Adebanjo, and a host of others, people who have been in the private sector all their lives, who have added value to this nation and who are hoping to rescue it from itself and the damage that has been done to it by the evil that has been inflicted upon it, particularly in the last 7 years, under the rulership of General Buhari and the cohorts in APC. And then somebody is saying failure. The very definition of failure is the APC and all who are associated with it. If we were in the same political environment, he should bury his head in shame and not presume to even present a candidate. And that is not me being angry. That is me telling the gentleman the truth. If he's looking to define failure, he should look to anything that means APC. It has been ruining us for this country in the last 7 years plus. This country has been practically grounded to a halt, damaged almost beyond repairs. You almost have to begin to reimagine it before you can put it back together. And the man speaking on behalf of those who ruined it to this point presumes to call anybody failure. Who represents failure more than General Buhari and everything that can be labeled APC? So please, I can't engage with him at an intellectual level to discuss the failings, but it is obvious to anyone with a modicum of reasoning that there is nothing but failure associated with the APC. So it cannot be a debate based on reason anyway. So let me just leave it at that. As you have rightly asked, what governor does the Labour Party have? We don't have failure or failures anywhere around. It's the Nigerian people that constitutes the Labour Party, the victims of the APC and the PDP's misrule. Those are the people in the Labour Party. Whether they are in the public sector or they are in the private sector, we are the ones who have been the victims of the misrule. And we are coming together trying to find a way out of this mess. And those who are fed fat on Nigeria with nothing else to do but public life presumes to talk about failures around us. That is pretty preposterous, very rich coming from somebody representing the APC.
Mr. Anthony, I wanted you to have a chance of to respond to Mr. Okpoku on some of the allegations, on some of the things he said.
So thank you very much, but I'll quickly respond first to my boy in the studio over there, but deliver to me. He says that PDP and APC are the problems. He forgets that his candidate was in the PDP barely 6 months ago. And if that's the case, now all of us did this matter together. but like he is, I'm also a political activist. And just to answer your man from APC, who I think is doing a yeoman's job, defending the indefensible, he should be aware that some of us fought the APC government to a standstill for them to pass the Electoral Act and the beavers that he's touting today, that as one of the legacies of the APC. I personally, with the late Ariyo Atoye Dare, were protested several times in front of the National Assembly to get that bill passed. So it is not a doing. We actually had hoped that President Buhari would have signed it in 2019. Perhaps he wouldn't be here today. And he knew those consequences when he refused to sign the Electoral Act. And as for electoral violence, I don't think PDP visited violence upon itself in Kaduna during our presidential rally, where our rally was attacked. I live streamed most of those rallies. I lost over 3 cameras in that incident. I lost a lot of equipment in Kaduna. Then we went to Borno. We were again attacked by the APC, by APC talks. Like I said, a member of the PDP has taken the majority leader, Dokuwa, who on camera threatened people not to vote for any other party but the APC in his state. So if it comes to violence, we know those that are afraid, insecure, and that they have totally lost out in this election, either by the credibility of their candidate or the political party that they would presume to present before Nigerians. Looking at the indices and statistics, I certainly do agree with my Dele Faro to me that APC has no business in this election if we were the same country. Because looking at the myriad of failures and stemming from the kind of candidate they are even presenting, who does not even, and cannot even debate, has not been able to attend I think, Sean, you've been having debates. The PDP was unable to attend the first one, but I'm sure you saw the performance of our presidential candidate at your last debate. I'm sure all questions you put to him were duly answered, and I think has convinced a lot of Nigerians that perhaps going into the 2023 election, we need a lot more of experience. Imagine that the situation we're in now today, it doesn't require, if you were to put Nigeria as a patient in critical condition in the ICU, you would not need a surgeon that has just finished 8 years of school. You would need a consulting surgeon that understands that this is a precarious situation and that only he, as a consulting surgeon with years of experience, having performed that surgery before. Let me draw your mind, Chiu, and avert you to something. And we're talking pure data here. In 1999 to 2000, Nigeria's GDP growth was 0.5. By 1999, when Atiku Obasanjo held the reins of Nigeria, and Atiku, as chairman of the Economic Council, drove Nigeria's economy so much that by 2000, our growth had gone to 5.1% GDP growth. By 2001, our growth had gone to 5.9. By 2002, Nigeria experienced a phenomenal growth to 15% GDP growth. Now, I want to juxtapose this to 2015 when we came in. The APC drove, by 2016, drove our GDP to 2.5, and by 2017, we had 0.75. And we have never grossed beyond 3% GDP growth, which has only happened once in the 7 years that we have matrixed the growth index of the APC performance as a government. So I will tell you very solidly that as we have seen, and I'm sure people saw the Katsina rally, which is the home state of the president, that was a clear indication as to where this election is going. Unfortunately, some people, instead of campaigning, have decided to take a religious route or an ethnic route to this election, which my candidate has avoided as a pan-Nigerian. But unfortunately, we are seeing that we are going to have an election that is maybe basically divided into three, where you have one side of the country going towards the southwest, one side going towards the southeast, and the entire north going in one direction. And that's very unfortunate. That's not the kind of country the PDP stands for right now. We are at a crossroad. We are at a very precarious position. You have to look at what the candidates are offering each other. I know that you're going to go into the next topic with this certain harassment of the governor of Central Bank by a candidate who is afraid that the new policy that is being introduced into the system will stop them from whatever
Anthony, let me
power grabbing schemes they have.
Yeah, so let me allow Ms. Okoku, because you also need to be able to respond.
Thank you very much, Sheung. Yes, the PDP representative in this discussion made it very clear that Atiku and Obasanjo spearheaded economy that was grown to an extent in this country. The same President Olusegun Obasanjo told Nigerians and the world that if he supports Atiku Abubakar to become president, even God will not forgive him. That statement is still valid as of today. And I want to also say that the Peter Obi, that is of the Labour Party, was a governor of Anambra State. If we are looking for a fresh blood, doing a new thing, it's not Peter, because it's part of the old order. So now we are faced with this old order. Three of them are old order, of course. But among the three, who has been able to distinguish himself in terms of mentorship, capacity building, it is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nobody takes that away from him. It is only in the state of Lagos that an Hausa man will be a commissioner, an Igbo man will be a commissioner, and men from other states, not Lagos, will be commissioner, because the man is a talent hunter. He does not believe in your religion, does not believe in your ethnicity, he does not believe in your race. He believes in your capacity to deliver. And that's the kind of person Nigeria wants at this time as president, to succeed President Muhammadu Buhari. I want to also add that the PDP campaign team, if you go around it, all what Senator Dino Melayo said against PDP are still valid up till now. When he said PDP to Fiekwa, is still valid. All what former Vice President Atiku Abubakar said against PDP are still valid. So what has changed? That is the question. You will see people cross-carpeting from one party to the other, and immediately they start discrediting the other party. Just like the PDP guy said, Peter Obi was a PDP member 6 months ago, and now they are discrediting PDP. So they know very well that both of them joined together are not matched to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is where Nigerians stand. If you go, let me add this. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is like the Nigeria police force. There is no community that you will go, you will not see the police. So no village in Nigeria that does not have the presence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu until a point that people start bearing the name as a title. Thank you very much.
All right. Today in the National Assembly, over the last few days, there has been controversies about the appearance of the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele. There was also a order of court about a possible arrest, and what the court says should not happen. Today, a deputy governor of the Central Bank was speaking to the policies of the Central Bank and defending the policies. I'd like you to take a listen to what was said today before the members of the Green Chambers.
Honorable
94% of all transactions, cash transactions, fall below the 500,000 limit, and this includes in areas in the country that are predominantly cash, that are not part of the cashless policy. 82% of corporate transactions also are below this limit. What does this mean? It means that 94% of all individual transactions will not be affected by these fees that we have talked about. I think I have to make it very, very clear that the CBN is an independent institution. Our decisions are taken based on research, data, and it is the work of many teams working together across the different directorates. On this issue, we've had teams from banking supervision, from payment system, from currency management, across the entire bank. And it is then brought up and we make a decision. At no time do we make decisions based on any political considerations. And I think it's important that I understate that.
All right, this is coming on the heels of those who are raising eyebrow that the CBN's decision on the policy on the limit is actually political. Mr. Farutimi, let me get your view first and foremost on what this means. What's your take on the defense of the CBN today before the members of the Green Chambers?
Well, let me say this: if the CBN governor had not, like the proverbial person who ties corn around his waist and turns himself into the mate of the hen and fowl in the compound, if he hadn't descended into the political arena so blatantly, you wouldn't have his actions being interpreted through the filters of politics. But having said that, the lady who delivered the report before the House of Reps, she's completely correct in saying that the CBN is an independent institution governed by law, set up by an act of parliament, whether that be, as in our own case, a decree, but it is still part of the law of this country, and it does not require the permission of any politician to carry out his duties. So when they speak to the political nature of the change of currency and all these limits, well, I don't sit in their coven.
All right.
The lady has rightly pointed out that it's an economic decision, and I'm happy to accept that.
Okay. Mr. Hilabo, what is your take?
Well, I think the CBN has, according to the BOFIA, the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act, not a decree, is legally empowered to take decisions that it deems fit. It has a monetary policy committee. It has a governors committee made up of people drawn from different, not just within the bank. I know that much of its operations, and one would want a CBN that takes decisions and is unhindered even by the president. And so therefore, this current muzzling or attempt to muzzle the CBN governor or his actions in trying to bring some sanity into our monetary policy must be condemned by all that are involved in this matter. We've seen reports of plots by the DSS to arrest. The PDP official spokesman, Kololo Bodua, released a statement 2 days ago, and I've seen statements from different parties acceding to this particular incident. One would want to caution those behind these political moves to understand that power is transient, and they must allow the process take its due course, and allow for the governor of Central Bank to perform his duties without narrative to it. And to my brother in the APC, he must realize that this is the time for APC should be apologizing to Nigerians instead of coming to campaign to us and tell
Mr. Anthony. Yeah. So, Mr. Okoku, let me allow you for the final word on the program tonight. What's your own view about this situation? Because there are allegations that these things are political.
Yes. The truth is, the CBN is a stakeholder in the Nigeria project. The DSS is the secret police guiding the conscience of this country. As a politician, I am also a civil society chief. I have written a letter using my organization to the CBN, and I've also written to the DSS. I've written to the National Assembly to get their view. And in the next few days, I will come out with my people to address a press conference to address the issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ogenye Okoko of the APC, Anthony Hileba of the PDP, and Mr. Dele Faritime, spokesperson of the Labour Party PCC. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That's our show for tonight, and how far we can go. I'm sure, Kimale, I'll see you tomorrow again. God bless Nigeria.